Okay. So previous classes we have completed Docker. So now we are going to start with the Jenkins. So today the module 1 we are going to discuss about introduction to CI/CD and then Jenkins fundamentals. So let's start with the introduction about CI/CD. So main introduction is every piece of software company ships goes through the same basic journey. It is like the journey will be same in the any company. The software development lifecycle, it will start as a the developer writes a code. That code gets combined with the everyone else's code. So they are going to push the code into one particular repository, that is we call GitHub repository, and it gets tested, packaged, and finally delivered to users. So delivered to user means it's going to deliver to the clients and the application which they are using, the users. Before automation, every one of those steps was done by hand. A developer would email a zip file, someone would manually copy it to the server, restart the application, and hope nothing breaks. So these are the manual steps it was working previously before going to implement the CI/CD or DevOps methodologies. So even I have worked into this particular method. Like once we are going to get the code as a zip file from the development team, and we will unzip it and copy that particular files which they have mentioned the path, and we will inform them as the deployment is completed, and we are going to validate the changes as well. If nothing is if nothing is broke and application is working fine, then we will update to client. But it will take manual process, and also something has missed, then it will affect the production. So continuous integration and continuous delivery or deployment, we take it as a CD. CI is continuous integration, and CD is continuous delivery or deployment. Both will work. The discipline and automation that replace the manual process. This is the manual process. It is replaced by CI/CD, and Jenkins is most widely deployed automation server that makes CI/CD possible. So in the CI/CD, we have different tools. We are going to see that what are all tools we have. But Jenkins is mainly used by many of the companies. Okay. The real world example, we can take it as scenario. Any e-commerce company like Amazon, Flipkart, Mintra, Meesho, anything you can take it. 200 plus microservices. So if you think the application in the front end, we are going to see it as a small application, but when you go through deep into backend and all, it will be having the n number of services and n number of like modules and all. Here we can take it as a 200 plus microservices like cart service, payment service, inventory service, recommendation, this and all. So each our module, it will be having a different service as a application engineers and platform engineer, they are going to work on it, and each maintained by different teams. So each module, each microservice will be maintaining by different teams, and they are going to take the ownership of that particular files or modules. Every time a developer pushes code to GitHub, so once the code is pushed to GitHub, what it will happen, it will directly take care by Jenkins automatically. So the Jenkins will be hand over the things, everything from the GitHub. Once the code is pushed to GitHub, and Jenkins will start from there. It will pulls the new code, builds it, and runs thousands of automated tests. Next, scans the code for security vulnerabilities and quality issues. Here it will work SonarQube, and once the pulls the code from GitHub repository, then it will builds it and runs thousands of automation tests. So this will be done by Maven. So we know already learned about Maven. So that's why I asked many times to learn Maven before going to Jenkins and also SonarQube. So before going to start with the CI/CD, we should know SonarQube, Docker, then Maven, then Git. All these we are going to work together with the Jenkins. Next is packages it into Docker container. We are going to make as a Docker container. There is a Docker image. We create complete application and deploys it to staging environment automatically. So once the code is pushed to GitHub repository, the Jenkins will trigger and it will deploy to the staging environment automatically first. Before going to production, we use staging environment. After approval, deploys to the production with zero manual server access. So it will be done after the approval only. It will proceed for the manual production deployment. Until then, it will be with a staging only. Without this pipeline, a company at this scale would not ship reliably, and a single manual mistake during a Black Friday. So if you take Black Friday is nothing but any the particular event, big billionaire sale will be there, summer sale, a year-end sale, these kind of sales will be there. At the time, if something has happened, then complete application will be in the crash and it will become as a down and users cannot access. So it will be huge loss to the e-commerce company. So some particular only 5 minutes application is down also, it will get loss of a very huge amount. So it could cost millions of dollars in the downtime. If downtime is happened, it will affect a lot of issues. That's why manual will be removed and everything will be taken care by automation. Even some application has down, we are going to trigger the alerts for that particular time. Next is architecture diagram. So how the CI/CD lifecycle architecture will look like, you can see here. So enterprise software delivery pipeline, source to production. Source is developer commit the code and it will go to the source control GitHub, and then continuous integration Jenkins will start. In the Jenkins, build the artifact, Maven build, code analysis, Sonar Cube, and with the quality gate, it will proceed further. Then Docker build, then it will push to Docker Hub, image repository. Then it will go to application deployment to Tomcat, then testing, automation testing, then AWS production. So live environment will be in the AWS servers. We are going to deploy that particular servers. Then monitoring. So monitoring and the alerts will be taken care by different monitoring tools. So the above architecture shows how CI/CD Jenkins works with multiple tools integrations. So we are going to use different tools with the Jenkins. Every tool will be integrated with the Jenkins, even Terraform, Ansible, Kubernetes, everything we can integrate with the Jenkins itself. We can make it as a continuous integration and continuous deployment. Every stage will run automatically in the complete pipeline. So there is no manual required here, manual action. So detailed explanation we are going to see now. So there is a three terms mainly you should understand and also you should know very well. Even in interview purpose also we should know. That is continuous integration, then continuous delivery, then continuous deployment. These are the three terms we should know. First is continuous integration. Continuous integration is a practice of merging all developers' code changes into a shared repository frequently. So frequently it will be merging all the developers' code whenever the code is committed, and it will be automatically triggering and automatically building and testing each change. Whatever the change has happened, it will be building and testing will be done. Only testing, till testing it will done. The core goal, catch integration problems and bugs as early as possible when they are cheapest to fix. So if you find out something, the issue, after the deploying to production, then it will be very much issues, and also it will escalate from the client side. That's why we have to fix it as soon as possible. We have to find out, and before going to production only, we have to fix them and proceed further. That's why we use continuous integration. Then key characteristics, developers commit small changes frequently. So the when we use a CI, developers will be committing small changes regularly. Frequent is regularly where they are going to commit it. Whenever they do some changes, they will commit it. not giant changes once a month. So they are not going to uh, commit lot of changes at a time per month. No, not like that. They will be doing every day, every 2 days, small changes also they are going to do. For that particular kind of changes, we do create a job called continuous integrations. Every commit triggers an automated build. Every commit triggers automated test. So everything will be trigger the automated build and test. Failures are reported immediately to the developer who caused them. So if something has happened, if the build is failed, immediately it will be report to the developers who is working on that particular issues, particular changes. So mainly, what is the difference between CA, CD, and another CD? So one CD is delivery, another one is deployment. Here you can see continuous integration. It will write the code, the developer, and once the commit is done, it will build the and compile the code, then test run case like running the test cases it will done, and it will stop here itself. Pipeline stops here. That is called continuous integration. So mainly what you understood is, what is continuous integration is, once the developer has pushed the changes to GitHub repository, the Jenkins will automatically trigger and it will run the compilation and build the application, then run the test cases. Then it will stop. It will not proceed further for Docker and Tomcat deployments. It will start in the test cases only. So in the after test cases, human gate, the personally manually we have to check the review the code merge and approve. Once that is approved, then it will go to continuous delivery. So continuous delivery is same code, write code, then compile the code, then run test cases, then package it as an artifactory. You can take it Docker, then stage it for release. So deploy to staging, not for production. So it will go to the staging, and we have to validate it whether the application is working fine as expected. All the changes are implemented. Then approve, click deploy. So click on deploy. Human gate manual action will take care here. Approval is needed to deploy to production in the continuous deployment. Next, once you click on deploy, then it will go to the continuous deployment. So in the continuous deployment, every change that passes tests. So once the test is passed, then automatically deploy to production. Here there is no human intervention will be there. So automatically it will deploy to the production. Once here click on deploy the CD job, it will automatically deploy to the production. Fully automatic end to end. It will be happen with the continuous deployment. So these are the three different terms which we have to know as a DevOps engineer. Now, it is a very important as a DevOps engineer. All other will be different, but CI/CD is a very important. You should know CI/CD. You know CI/CD means half of the DevOps engineer course is done. Next half is all the remaining tools. So what is CD? So we have discussed continuous delivery. That is a CD. After CI/CD, it will be CI/CD will be working together. After the build and test pass, the software is automatically packaged and prepared for release. But a human still decides when to actually release it to the users. So when to go to the production, it will be decided by human. That is a continuous delivery. Continuous deployment is, it will goes one step further. There is no human gate at all. Every change that passes automatic checks goes straight to the production automatically. That is a continuous deployment. So one line difference, if you want to know, continuous delivery, production ready after every change, but a human approves the release. And continuous deployment is production ready after every change, and it releases itself. There is no manual action required. That is a difference between continuous delivery and continuous deployment. Now, why Jenkins? So there are Many CI/CD tools we have. If you know GitLab, Azure DevOps, other tools are there. But why should we use Jenkins? It is a open source and free, no licensing cost, which matters enormously at enterprise scale. So if you use any community editions or any paid versions, we have to pay a lot of for the enterprise scale because we use a lot of data in the Jenkins. But here the Jenkins is very open source and it is free for everyone. Extremely extensible. Here we have like 1800 plugins covering nearly every tool in existence. So we are going to use a 1800 plugins. It means plugins is nothing but we are going to use mainly Jenkins will work based upon the plugins only. We have the plugins for each and every tool. You can take it Docker, Kubernetes, AWS, Azure, SonarCube, Git, SH, HTTP, anything. If you want to work on the particular tool, particular task, you can look for the plugin and you can install it. Extremely extensible. Over 1800 plugins are there. Next is mature and battle tested. So in production since 2011, as a Hudson before that since 2004. So before, if you get the any questions like when Jenkins has uh, implemented, like it is started Jenkins. So Jenkins is started in the 2011. Before that was there, but the name was Hudson. So Hudson was the name of Jenkins before 2011, from the 2004 to 2011, with a massive community. So it is as a huge community, and if you get any issues, you can check with the community Jenkins support as well. You are going to get the good response, and you can fix the issues. Works with any language or stack. So this particular Jenkins, you can work with any language. There is no language limit here. You can work for the Java application, Python, Node.js, .NET. .NET or Go mobile applications, infrastructure as a code, anything you can work on it. But the Jenkins application is developed by using Java. Next, self-hosted control. Enterprises with strict compliance or security requirements. So it will be like very secure. The Jenkins is very secure. Need to run CI/CD inside their own network. So they are going to use a CI/CD inside their own network. Like if you take any banks, healthcare, or enterprises, they are going to use their own network and not a SaaS product. Jenkins fits that requirement perfectly. If you use a software as a service, then it will be effect. That's why they are going to use a CI/CD with their own network. Next, Jenkins architecture. One second. So Jenkins runs as a Java application. As I mentioned, Jenkins is developed by using Java. So it is exposing a web interface. Here also, the default port is 8080. So we have already seen same with the Tomcat as well. A scheduler that manages a queue of build jobs. Architecturally, Jenkins is composed of these, that is master and slave. So master slave architecture is very important, the Jenkins. So you will get the question, what is master and slave in Jenkins? So master is the main, that is controller, the brain we call it, stores all configuration, job definitions, credentials, plugin data, build history, then schedules, then dispatches work. So everything will be handled by master. You can take it as a brain. So brain is controller for your body. So it will be controlling everything in the Jenkins. And next is agent. So if you take master slave, that is fine. Also master and agent, that is also fine. Controller agents also fine. So the name is different, but we call it master slave. So master slave architecture. slave is workers. So whatever the brain tells, it's going to done by workers, like machines, physical VM, container, or cloud provisioner, AWS EC2 instances. Anything will be done by agents that actually execute build steps. So we are going to install Jenkins with a master, that is a master server, and then we are going to create a n number of slaves inside the master, and all the jobs, everything will be executed within the slaves. So a small setup might run everything on the controller itself. So completely it will be running with the complete jobs, everything will be running in the with the slaves itself. Enterprise setup always offload actual build execution to agents to keep the controller responsive and to scale horizontally. The main purpose of master slave, if you want to know, this will be like to maintain the traffic, to maintain the scale up and scale downs between the different agents. We use master slave. So if you use only one server, so for example, there is one route, only one way is there, that is a very small, and there are a lot of vehicles. Then all vehicles coming at a time, you can't move all at a time, so it will take a lot of time. But if there is a road with a width, lot of width, or there are multiple routes, then all the vehicles can go fastly. So the traffic will be reduced. It's going to divide the traffic. Like that, it will the traffic will be divided into different slaves, and multiple jobs we can run at a time when we use master slave architecture. So the details I'm going to explain about only theory part today in this particular module, but the Jenkins master slave architecture will be there in a different chapter that I will explain. So in the distributed setup, the controller receives a trigger, that is, the controller is nothing but master. It will get the trigger from GitHub, and the controller looks at the available agents and their labels. Based on the available agents, and it will execute the controller assign the job to matching available agent. So when the job is triggered, it will be having the multiple agents whichever is available. So based upon the, if you take it, the life cycle, whichever is available, based on that it's going to take the action, and it will run that particular job into different agents. So for example, you have Linux agent, Docker agent, Windows agent, and when the job is triggered with a controller, Linux is busy with another job running, and Docker and Windows is available, then it will take any one of the agent to run the particular job. The agent checks out the code, runs the build steps, and streams logs back to the controller in real time. So all the build is like building application will be, the job will be running in the agents, but the logs, streams and logs back to the controller in the real time. So it will go back to the controller itself. The controller stores the final result, artifacts, and reports. So only the application running will be there in the master, the jobs will running, but all the input, all the output will be coming back to the controller itself. This matters at scale because a small controller trying to run hundreds of builds itself would become a bottleneck, and a single point of failure for build execution, it will be affect the issues. So when we use this kind of, the controller will be running the, trying to run hundreds of builds at a time, it will affect the issue. That's why single point of failure also it will affect. That's why we have divided the into different agents. So always remains a single point of failure for configuration, which is why we are going to discuss in the model 16, that is backups, how we can take the backup of a particular code, particular data of our Jenkins controller. So this is a Jenkins master agent architecture. You can take master slave architecture. So it will be Jenkins is a controller, that is a master one. You can take it. So it will, what work it will done, schedule jobs, stores configuration, serves web UI, distribute work to the agents. These complete work will be done by Jenkins controllers, that is a master. Then it will go to the different agents. We are using three different agents. It can be Linux, Windows, or Docker, or you can use all the Linux servers itself. So all agents work will be same. It will be runs, builds, execute shell scripts, execute Maven or build Maven Gradle builds, then build tools and dependencies. Everything will be there. It can be permanent or static agent, and we can make it. And also Docker, it will be like a dynamic agent we are going to use. So here you can see shared resources we are going to use with the Jenkins master slave, and main benefits of master slave is scalability, parallel builds. Like parallelly we can run the builds. So if you want to run n number, like for example you want to run 10 builds, 10 jobs at a time, then you have to use a 10 agents. So each job will be running in the different agents, so it will run smoothly. Otherwise, until one job is completed, another job will be waiting in the queue. Isolation, there will be no communication between one agent to another agent. The data will be different one agent to another agent. Better resource utilization, we can use a resource utilization and high availability. Main purpose is high availability. To make it high availability of our Jenkins, we use master and slave architecture. That is a master slave. That is very important. In the real time, we are going to see how it will work. Next is Jenkins components. So Jenkins components, we have like Jenkins home. It is a directory storing all the configuration, jobs, plugins, and secrets. So Jenkins home is nothing but home directory of Jenkins when we install. Same like how we have like .m2 for Maven, Java home for Java, and Tomcat home directory. This and all same. We have Jenkins home for the Jenkins home directory. Next is jobs. So a defined unit of work. So it will be jobs is the main the Jenkins, because what is the work you are going to do with the Jenkins means you are going to create the jobs to the particular task which we are going to perform. That is the jobs. We call it a defined unit of work. It can be freestyle or pipeline. Freestyle we use as a UI by using plugins. Pipeline we write the script by using Ruby language. Next is builds, a single execution of job. So if you execute one particular job, that is we called it build. Then plugins, extend Jenkins functionality. We use the plugins. So inside the Jenkins, we have a number of plugins, around 1800 plugins. Nodes are agents, machines that execute builds. The executing that particular builds, we call it node or agents. Executors, slots on a node that can run one build concurrently. So particular build, it will be run only one at a time. That is the executors. So that is called slots. Workspace. Next is, so this is also important, the directory on an agent where a specific jobs files live during a build. So during the build, where the particular files of that particular job will store, that is called workspace. It will be having the directory. Next is credential store. So encrypted storage for the secrets, we use credential store. So in the manage Jenkins, we are going to see it how we can create a credentials and we can store with a Jenkins. So next is Jenkins workflow. Second. So Jenkins workflow. So this is the main Jenkins workflow, how it will work. Developers pushes the code first to GitHub, then GitHub sends the webhook to Jenkins. So from Jenkins also, we are not going to take manual. Automatically it will take. Jenkins controller receive the event. Controller is master and matches to a job, and controller assigns the build to an available agent. So whichever is available, it's going to assign to automatically. And agent check out the code from GitHub and it will build test So once the checkout is, these are all the stages we call. So all the stages will perform checkout, build, test, package, and deploy. Then controller collects the results, update dashboard, send notification. So this will be again, it will come back to the controller and it will be done by controller. So it will collect the result, update the dashboard, then send the notification if we have configured. That is how I have explained here in the workflow, the image. Next is Jenkins jobs. So Jenkins jobs, as I mentioned, this is the main work which we do with the Jenkins. It is a called project. The particular project will be having the particular job. It is configured units of automation. The two main types is freestyle project and pipeline. Configured entirely through the web UI form. Like we are going to use freestyle is nothing but we are going to use the web UI, good for the simple task, and if you use any version control then it is not useful. If you run only one particular task then we use a freestyle, but in real time mainly we use a pipeline because we have to write a script, define as a code, that is a Jenkins file, we call it, version controlled alongside your application and capable of expressing complex multi-stage logic. So it will be like very complex thing on multi-stages we use. We are going to use in the Groovy language. This will be very useful to work on a version controlled applications. Next, Jenkins pipeline. So that's what we have explained here. So it is a suite of like pipeline is a suite of plugins that lets you define your entire build, test, deploy. So all this will be processed as a code. We are going to write in the code how the job should perform. So it will be Groovy based syntax, either declarative or scripted. Again, in the scripted, in the pipeline, we have two different types. One is declarative, that will be structured, easy to read, recommended for most teams. When it comes to scripted, it will be Groovy programming flexibility, more complex. So as a beginner, you should learn only declarative, that is enough. But while you working on the real time experiences, scripted is important. So both is same, but we are going to use in the different format. Jenkins controllers and agents. So practical sizing guidance, it will be like Jenkins will be like when you use a small team, less than 20 developers, one controller with handful of executors is often enough. But even here, running heavy builds directly on the controller is discouraged. So if you use a small team, then you can use only one, that is enough, but it will be again affecting the builds. When you use a medium or large enterprise, then one controller, many agents. So auto scaled via Kubernetes, EC2, a spot in like then we are going to use a Docker, Windows, everything. Agents labeled by capability. So that is a Docker, Maven, GPU, Windows. So based upon the capability, we are going to make it as a label. Label is group of agents. Next, Jenkins use cases, compiling and testing application code on every commit. So main use case is compiling and testing application code on every commit it's going to use, and then running static code analysis and security scans. So static code analysis we are going to using with a SonarQube. It will done in the Jenkins. Building and pushing Docker images we can done with a Jenkins by using integrating Docker with a Jenkins, and deploying to Kubernetes virtual machines platform as a service platforms. So these kind of we can do it with a Jenkins. Running scheduled nightly jobs like batch jobs, report generation, backups. So everything we can schedule it with the Jenkins, and we can make it automation. There is no manual action required. So for example, you want to take a backup of the particular server every day at that particular time, midnight 12 a.m, when the load is very less on the application. So at that time you want to take the backup, you can schedule it with a Jenkins. You can make a job, we can create a job, then we can run that particular script by using cron job. we already know. Cron job we have discussed with the in the Linux class. So same we will use in the Jenkins. Then infrastructure automation. So infra automation is nothing but Terraform. So we are going to use the Terraform or Ansible playbooks along with Jenkins to make it automation of configuration management and infra as a code, infrastructure as a code. We are going to use the Jenkins. Then automated database migrations. So if you want to migrate database from one to another one and also cloud migrations, then we can schedule it with the Jenkins as well. Next is Jenkins advantages, free and open source. So advantage of Jenkins is it is free and open source and massive plugin ecosystem. So plugin is very important with the Jenkins for each and every task, each and every tool which we are going to use. We are going to use the plugin. Mainly, we should know how to install plugin, which version we have to install, and if not working, how to troubleshoot each and everything we should know. Highly customizable via Groovy scripting. So by using Groovy scripting, we can customize any job, any task. Strong community and documentation. So if you look for the Jenkins documentation, you can find out, and more details you can find out with the Jenkins documentation. So if you go to Jenkins, this is the jenkins.io. Here you can find out documentation. You can download here. For Windows, it will download. If you want to go to documentation, you can see user handbook, installing Jenkins, using Jenkins pipelines. Each and every topic there is a document, and you can go through it. So what is Jenkins pipeline? So why we use, how it will be used, the architecture, everything will be they have explained. Even I am explaining from that one only. So whatever we have some issues, any doubts, we can go through the Jenkins documentation to understand better. They will be explaining very well. So if you take it declarative pipeline, they have explained agent one. So these are one stage they have used, and the next is stage two. So here the details they have to provide. Here you can see execute this pipeline or any of its stage. That is a one agent. Any means execute the one particular agent and defines the build stage two. Like that they have explained very well. So that's why strong community and documentation. Even if you have some issues, you can raise a ticket with them and you can take the help. Works on on-prem or in the cloud. So you can use in the on-prem as well or in the cloud, Windows, anywhere you can use it with the Jenkins. Language or platform agnostic. So it is not dependent on any platform or any language. It will work with any platforms with any language applications. So these are the advantages and use cases of Jenkins, but there are some limitations for the Jenkins as well. That is, UI can feel dated compared to the modern SaaS CI tools. So if you see any other tools like GitHub Actions, GitLab CI, Circle CI, these are the software as a service continuous integration tools. These are advanced level, but UI will be outdated. Looks like outdated when you compare Jenkins. These are all GitHub Actions and GitLab will be like modern. That's why it will be the Jenkins UI feel like outdated. Then plugin compatibility issues are common after upgrades. So after upgrading plugins or Jenkins, then you will face the issues, compatibility issues. It won't support sometime, and sometimes you will face the errors. You have to figure it out and fix them. Requires dedicated maintenance like patching, backups, scaling, like everything will be dedicated maintenance required. It is not managed by service by default. So it will be have to take care separately the maintenance. Steep learning curve for Groovy based pipeline scripting for beginners. So mainly the Groovy as a beginners, it is like difficult to understand, but if you understand well, then it will be like very fun to know, and also we can create any script with a Groovy. So for the beginners, it will be very difficult to learn. Security is your responsibility to configure correctly. So here the security is mainly we have to configure correctly, otherwise it will affect with the security. not like any other SaaS CI/CD. So we have to maintain security with the Jenkins. So till now we have discussed about Jenkins. So how the Jenkins will look like, what are the different components, and what is the master slave architecture, and the workflow, how it will looks. Then different type of jobs, then pipeline types. Okay. Now instead of Jenkins, we have other tools as well. So even any tool, if you take it, for build tools we have Maven, Gradle, Ant, and for deployment servers also we have Tomcat, Wildfly, and version control also we have Git, SVN, like that. Same like for CI/CD as well, we have alternatives like GitHub Actions. One is GitHub Actions. It is native to GitHub and AML based, fully managed. So it is fully managed by CI/CD, GitHub only. So if you go to GitHub account, so here you can see actions, GitHub action. So it will automatically, it will take care. So whatever you want to configure, you can just click on configure. You can, and you can set it up. The particular repository you can set up. So just it is taken care by GitHub account itself. So GitHub action is native to GitHub. Within the GitHub we have to use, and we have to write the code in AML based, and it is fully managed by GitHub repository. So I have used for one of my application. So GitHub Actions will be look like. I will show you, but we are not going to learn GitHub Actions. See, this is the workflow where you can see page build deployment. How this will work. This is my first build. It is done. It will be building, report build status, then deploy. That's it. So whatever the stages which we have given, it will take it here. Build, report build status, then deploy. So like this, we can set up, rerun all jobs. Everything will be done here itself. In the GitHub account only, we can do it. Deployments, runners, usage metrics, everything we can see in the GitHub only, and we can create a new workflow as well. So if you want to set up the workflow, for example, Docker image you want to set up, you want to use a Maven integration, and then you want to set up the Tomcat, everything we can use it the GitHub only. So you can see Java with Maven configure, you can configure it. So like that we can use with the GitHub action. So that is one of the alternative for Jenkins. Another one is GitLab. So GitLab is very important. That is also one of the uh, top CI/CD tool. I can see even I learned. I have worked into different projects by using GitLab. So it is native to GitLab. We are going to use it the GitLab. So how GitLab is same like GitHub. Can use source code management repository as well. Also CI/CD as well. Native to GitLab, AML based. Here also we use AML language, YAML. Then tightly integrated with GitLab's full DevOps platform. So it will be integrated with the GitLab's DevOps platform. There we are going to write the AML code inside the GitLab repository. So you can go here. So this is the GitLab. You can just normally login. You can use a user login. Also you can go through the documentation as well here. So this is same like GitHub action, and we are going to write a gitlab-c.aml file to set up the CI/CD pipelines. Here we use in the Jenkins as a Groovy Jenkins file we use. There we use the CI YAML file. Next is Circle CI. That is a software as a service, fast, popular for small teams or startups. We use Circle CI, but I don't see much. These two like very rare, very less companies using as of now. Previous CI, that is a older software as a service, less common in new enterprise setups now. So new enterprise it is not going to use. It is a old one. That's why. Next is Azure DevOps pipelines, strong fit for Microsoft energetic centric organization. So this one is mainly using in the where the company is using Microsoft products. So for example, Azure. If you are using Azure, then Azure DevOps also we can use because It will be combination with the Azure platform. Microsoft Azure is a cloud, and Azure DevOps is a pipelines, CI/CD. Next is AWS code pipeline. It is native AWS managed CI/CD, where we are going to use the code pipeline as a service, and then we are going to, it will be completely managed by AWS only. We can set it up with the AWS cloud. Next is Argo CD or Flux. So it is GitOps focused. Mainly we are going to use a GitOps, Git operations focused continuous deployment, usually paired with the Jenkins for CI, doing CD separately. So this one is mainly used for only CD, not CI. So with the Jenkins, uh, so Jenkins is a CI and Argo is a CD. Like that we can use it. And also we can use GitLab as a CI and Argo CD is a CD. So like that we can use the combination. This is mainly with the GitOps, the latest technology we are using. Git operations, that is a combination of Git and operations. Then we use Argo CD. For automation purpose we use. So by using Argo CD, we can deploy the Kubernetes microservices along with GitLab CI and Argo CD. So Jenkins remains dominant, specifically where organization need self-hosted, highly customizable, plugin-rich automation. So mainly Jenkins will be using by uh, big organizations, self-hosted and highly customizable. This kind of purpose we use Jenkins. Now also many of the companies using Jenkins. Then after the Jenkins, the recently many companies using GitLab CI/CD along with Argo, and then some of the companies using Azure DevOps. Next is installation steps. So where we can use install Jenkins. So I'm going to explain how we can install Jenkins in Windows first. So let me check whether I have installed Jenkins or not. Currently, I don't have Jenkins. So I'm going to install the Jenkins. So installing Jenkins in Windows, just you can go to this particular website, or else you can just type here Jenkins installation Windows. You can click on Jenkins IO documentation. Same. You can go here and you can look for the downloading Jenkins. Refer to the Windows section. Downloading Jenkins. Here if you go, download Jenkins, and before downloading please take a moment, just hardware and software requirements, because there are some prerequisite which we should have. That is a 4 GB of RAM, 50 GB of drive space, it should be there. Minimum hardware requirements 256 of RAM, but recommended is these are the hardware requirements. Okay, and software will be Java 21 or above should be present, and then web browser, and then Windows operating system. Like this and all is not mandatory, but those are required. And other than that, if you use any other Linux, then you can follow the same. So for every operating system, these are the mandatory. We should be there, and Java should be present. So now I'm going to downloading the Jenkins. Set Select one of the packages below and follow the download instructions. Once the Jenkins package has been downloaded, proceed to the installing Jenkins section of user handbook. So what I'm going to do, download Jenkins 2.568. This is 573. Okay. Now I'm going to download it. Windows, the latest one. Click on it. So it will be downloaded as a MSI file. And if I go here, it will display Windows. If you click on Windows, it will show the instructions. See, once you set up a wizard, so once you download it, just you have to click on that. there is a two methods in the Jenkins. One is with the MSI installer, that is what I have downloaded, and then as usual you have to log in by clicking on next. So another method also is there. Let me check if they have mentioned or not. Okay,
Can't
so
download
they,
it from Docker, Mohan?
sorry.
Can we install this from Docker?
Yeah, we can. That one I will show in the Linux. So Docker is another method. So we have multiple methods to install Jenkins. The Windows we can use installer, and also we can use a war file as well. See if you observe where I have mentioned here for Windows, and also for anyone generic Java package. Just you have to copy it, you have to download it, and then store in the local. Then you have to run the Java -jar, the particular war file. And another one is which I have downloaded just now. So I'm checking whether it is loading or not. It's taking time. Actually, mainly I use this one, Java package instead of this. So I have clicked on it. I think it is taking time. So it is cancelled. So I will download this file var 2.568 LTS. Both we can use. Anything is fine. So it is downloaded. In the real time, I will show only Linux, not just this one. I'm just installation purpose. I'm showing. So this one I will copy, cut it here. Then I'll go to softwares. We have to store anywhere in the C. So I have created software. I'll store here. And here we have to run the command. So Java I have already installed. So mainly Java should be present above 21. Now Java is installed. I can run the command java-jar jenkins dot var. So run the command again with enable future Java. Okay. So supported Java version only 21 or 25, but I have 26. That's why it is not working. So I will go with the MSI only. So I will take this. I will store here. Understood, right? This one I have installed version is different, but it required only 21 or 25. That's why it is not supporting the jar file. I'll go once again and I will download Java Windows. pasting here. So you can click on that. It will go to the next. So actually latest version is not working. Even if you try to install, avoid this latest version. Go for the LTS, long term release. Next I am going to click on next. Run service as local system, not recommended. Run service as local or domain user. You can set the account user details. So test credentials. The username password is incorrect. It is showing incorrect. Run service as local system. I'll go with this one for now. So port is port number 12. This one we can use. If you want to change the port number, you can choose the port as well here itself. But I will go with the same port for now. Tomcat is not running. So I'll go. Fail to find the compatible Java version. Okay. For this one also we require 25 or 21. That's why it is unable to take it. So let me install Java first. The latest version, the particular version they required. Java 25 I will install. Java downloads. So you can see here Java JDK 25. Click on Windows. For now I am going to remove the Java. You have to uninstall Java. So you can see here 26 I have. So I'm going to uninstall the Java. So I have verified in the Linux today, but I have installed 21 Linux, so that's why it is working fine. For Windows, just for training purpose, I am showing. Now Java is not installed. If you check Java version, Java is not recognized. So now I am going to install the Java compressed archive, but I am going to install the installer. So once it is done, then we can run the command for Windows. So today only I will show Windows installation, how we can do it. And in the tomorrow we'll start with the Linux installation and proceed further on the theory part. So click on Java. So once Java is installed, again we have to do system variable environment variables. We have to validate it. Java is installed which version? See here 26 point is there. So I have to change successfully installed. Now I have to go to the program files Java 25. So I have to copy that path and here edit change. Then again here also edit where Java I have mentioned Java 26 is there. So I have to provide edit and give the bin directory path, edit, okay, okay, and okay. Now if I run the command java -hyphen version, java 25 is running fine. Now what I will do, I have saved here softwares Jenkins, right? Here only I want to run java-jar jenkins dot var. See, now it is running fine. You can use the MSI also, but I recommend only var file. That's why. Allow, click on allow. Now we have to go to here. The port number is 8080. So localhost 8080. You have to run it. So first you will get this kind of dashboard. Unlock Jenkins. So initial password, administrator password will be present here in this particular path. And also if you go to the command line, you can see here as well the particular path. Please use the following password to proceed to installation. So in the Windows you will get like this. You can just copy it and paste here. Continue. The password is incorrect. Okay. Let me go here. Check it. Okay. I have not copied. I will copy. Yeah. Now it is copied. You have to provide here. Click on continue. So it will go. And make sure you are in the proper network while installing Jenkins. Otherwise, the plugins will not install properly. So once it is done, it will ask for the customized Jenkins, install suggested plugins or select plugins to install. So if you select it, so you can select whatever you require. But for now, you can go install suggested plugins only. So it will install all the mandatory plugins. You can see here, Gradle, Ant, Build Timeout, LDAP, Mailer, SH Build Agents, Git, Pipeline, Email Extension. These are the default plugins which required for Jenkins. That's why it is installing. So it will take time. Meanwhile, we can go to the continue class. So you can, I have mentioned here for the Red Hat, I have mentioned. So launch the EC2 instance. Then we have to install the Jenkins by using the commands in the Linux that we will discuss tomorrow. But once you install it, you will get the same. Yeah, I have mentioned unlock Jenkins. So you have to provide the password. On the first startup, Jenkins generate a random password and stores it in the that particular path. You can retrieve it, but basic but effective security gate against unauthorized first time setup. It will be there. Once you done, you have to install the suggested plugins like Git pipeline. This kind of plugins it will install. Then it will proceed for the create a first admin user. So it will ask for the credentials. You have to set up by using your own username and password, full name, then email. It will ask. This becomes your primary Jenkins login. So you have to maintain this one. You should not forget the password and username. This is the master server where we use as a master and slave. This is the master one. So once you see the this kind of dashboard, then the Jenkins installation is completed successfully. So it is so installing Jenkins. You can go to this path, or else whatever I have shown, right? You can go here. So it will take time. That's why you should be in the proper network. Otherwise, it will get cancelled. Even multiple times you have to retry. So meanwhile, I'll explain about best practices. So always run the Jenkins with a dedicated system account. The installer creates a Jenkins user automatically. Never run Jenkins as root. So you have to create a Jenkins user, but don't use a root user. Use an elastic IP for your Jenkins EC2 instance so the URL doesn't change on reboot. So in the real time, we are going to set up the particular IP address for our Jenkins account, Jenkins application. So it won't change again and again. Set the correct Jenkins URL under manage Jenkins system immediately after install. So after installation, you have to Jenkins URL. You can set it up. Many plugins depends on it being correct. So you have to set up the Jenkins URL. Take a snapshot or aim of your Jenkins instance once configured as a quick disaster recovery. So this one all we are going to discuss in the backup. So how can we make sure we are going to take the regular backups, and if something has lost, what we have to do? Restrict inbound access to port 8080 to known IP ranges rather than this one even during training. So we have to inbound access, we have to maintain only the particular IP address instead of 00. I have already explained, right, while using Docker and other tools, we have to provide only the particular IP address instead of this one. The common mistakes while using this one: forgetting to open port 8080, that I have already explained multiple times. That's why I have directly using tomorrow without any security group issues. And the single most common, I can't reach Jenkins issue for beginners. That is a issue with the port 8080, the AWS security groups. Installing Jenkins before installing Java. So before installing Java, if you install Jenkins, then you will get the issue as Jenkins in Java not found issues. That's why you have to avoid. First, you have to install Java. Running Jenkins as root for convenience, a serious security anti-pattern. So we have to use a separate user for Jenkins instead of root. Losing the initial admin password by closing the terminal before copying. Then also it will affect, but you can copy it from the initial admin password until you delete it or rotate it. So not enabling the Jenkins service. So this one we will discuss in the EC2 level. So reboot, like troubleshooting also same. If you find out some issues like 8080 not found, can't reach means you have to check in the security groups. Browser can't reach it even after security group fix, then firewall blocking locally. Then we have to set up the firewall. Then status Jenkins shows failed means Java not installed. If the Jenkins service starts, then immediately stops, then there should be issue with the insufficient memory. So we have to upgrade it to different uh, instance type. Can't find initial admin, then read permission issue. So you have to check the sudo cat. This particular file you have to check it. Then password, that is the one. Next is Jenkins UI extremely slow. So undersized instance or too many plugins loading at once. Like that's why we have suggested it should be install at least minimum 30 GB of data and 4 GB of RAM. We have to use it. Okay, that's it about complete troubleshooting, and we have explained. So interview questions I will provide you. You can go through the interview questions. Jenkins is very important. That's why I have prepared every module, minimum 10 questions I have prepared with answers. You can go through it. Now it is coming as create first admin user. So here you have to provide username, any username you have to provide. Then full name you have to provide. So email ID, any email ID, just give it and save and continue. So it will ask instance configuration. So if something has you have changed the port, then you have to change it. Otherwise, you can keep it as 8080. Then save and finish. Your Jenkins setup is completed. Start using Jenkins. This is how you can install Jenkins in Windows. So this is the dashboard of Jenkins where we can create a job, set up agent, configure cloud, and other permissions which we are going to see in the tomorrow class. Tomorrow we'll start with the Linux installation, then we'll proceed further. That's it for the today module. Next module tomorrow, Jenkins user interface, I will explain you. That's it for the today. Thank you.